We've been begging Indian motorcycles for years to come out with a steel frame, something with, the exo shocks, something that we could work on that's not a mono shock. And when they came out with the CHiEf in 2022, I was so excited. It was a great platform. This bike is like the best kind of convertible that Indian has ever come out with. You could do anything with this bike. I was stoked, man. I was really excited to get my hands on one. The cool thing about the CHiEf is that it came to us, and the story behind the CHiEf is it's clearly not a piece of shit. The bike came to us because it was totaled. Somebody ran out of talent on the bike. It sat in my back parking lot for the better part of 6 months to a year, trying to figure out what are we going to do with this piece of shit, right? Because it's dying in my parking lot. Customer didn't want it, insurance didn't want it. And to make a very long story short, almost 8 months or a year, I forget the exact time frame, but after walking by it 100 times over, we finally just got the bike. We actually have a motorcycle to start from. And this bike actually originally started as like just a regular CHiEf 116 Dark Horse. So it had the cool technology, but it didn't have the inverted front end. The front end was kind of caved in. Fenders, everything, turn signals were all jacked up on it. And I'm like, what a perfect motorcycle to start with, right? And we just went to work. The whole premise behind this bike when I got it was I knew what I wanted to do on the front end, right? With the Sport CHiEf coming out, I knew that, the guys had the inverted front end. We knew we had the triple trees available for it. Obviously, now that we have Big Bear choppers and Olin suspension. But the premise behind this bike, before I even started it, and I've been blowing up Brian and Vanessa Clock for a fucking year. I'm like, bro, I need an FXRP fairing because they just came to market with it. They're doing them on Harleys. I think we got our very first one for Springfield, and they had a mount for that. And I'm like, bro, that fairing needs to be on a CHiEf. I don't care what the platform is, whether it's a regular CHiEf or a Sport CHiEf, it's like the perfect platform. And of course I knew it'd piss off all the Harley guys, right? Throwing a fucking FXRP, on an Indian was gonna blow people's minds, but it's a great fairing. It's like having a fixed fairing. It doesn't buff it, it doesn't blow you up. It's just perfect wind protection, but it's still sleek and small enough to get in and out of traffic. And so I knew when I started this build that was the direction I was gonna go. I love Brian, and he had to handle my phone calls for hours on end, and I'm texting them and emailing them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, just make the mount for it already. And he did. And I'm super pumped because it fits perfectly, it bolts on perfectly, and it's doing everything I want it to do. When it came time to slap and color on the CHiEf, my buddy Troy Duff, amazing graffiti artist. If you've ever been in Music City, Indian, you see my building, it's all black. We got graffiti on north wall, back wall, side wall, inside the dealership. And I think about my friend Rick Fairless out of Dallas. And I'm like, I need something loud. I didn't know anybody local that was gonna be able to do that. And so I called my buddy Troy up and I'm like, hey man, have you ever graffitied a motorcycle? What do you mean graffiti? I'm like, tins, front fender, rear fender, fairing, side cover. He's like, nope. He's like, but I love the idea. And so he came down. I really have no say in what this bike looked like. I just said, do your thing, because I love it. He's graffitied some of our doors here. He's done helmets and shit like that for us, but he went absolutely ham on this motorcycle. And if you were to actually see the bike in person versus just seeing it in photos and stuff on social media, my wife's initials, my initials, MCI, obviously on the back of the fairing, he put CHiEf because that was one of my things. I wanted people to know why we're calling it that. He's got 615, he's got the 3 stars for Tennessee. His mind is just amazing, and his ability to just come up and conjure up the right colors and make it pop and still look right, like it wasn't just graffitied, but still kind of classy. And I think the bike turned out rad. And he's an amazing artist, and he did a wonderful job. And when it came back to us, the other fun part is like people are like, oh, you guys cleared it. I'm like, yeah, we cleared it in our building after hours because we don't have a paint booth. and Carl, who's been with me for like 4 or 5 years now, is an ex-painter. And we taped up all the stuff in the back so it didn't get on anything. And he cleared it inside of our building to kind of move along with the theme of the CHiEf, where it's got every cool part on it, but we never went like above and beyond as far as like doing way custom paint, albeit it did turn out custom. You can still rub the paint. There's like, what do they call that? Orange peel on it and shit like that. And it's perfect. It's the CHiEf. After we finally got the FXRP fairing for the bike, there's a couple things that popped up. My buddy Cameron Brewer over at Roland Sands at the time, they were doing the Hooligan series. And so he kind of tagged me and said, hey, I got a primary. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. So it's like a high clearance primary, perfect for mid controls, moves the clutch cable up. And I'm like, all right, well, we already know what we're gonna do. So we're gonna make it really a ripper. We're not gonna drag our custom exhaust on the ground. We're not gonna drag our floorboards or now pegs on the ground with the mids. So yeah, that kind of stemmed it. Like just talking to Cam and he sent me the primary cover, we slapped it on there. I'm like, all right, now we need to go up. So it's gotta have proper suspension. We knew we had to do motor work. That was a no-brainer, but I didn't want to go like 131 or 126. So we stuck with the 116, cammed it out, tuned it. I think we went through 4 sets of exhaust on this bike. I had a handful that burned holes in my legs, doing burnouts and shit. And so when we built our most recent bike, which happens to be the Drag Specialties bike, it happened to be kind of a milder build based on the restrictions that we had, but it turned out amazing. S&S sent us the very first 2-into-1 exhaust. And when I heard it for the first time, I'm like, dude, we gotta have that. And when they came into production, we swapped out all the mufflers that we put. I think we threw 4 different sets. The S&S 2-into-1 turned out amazing, puts out great performance. And then we just started hammering on our guys, right? Tony Audette makes some really cool clarity covers for the rocker box, rocker boxes, as well as the cam cover. And then as far as it kind of going back to the stance, you know, when Big Bear came out with the suspension, it was really straightforward. I wanted it higher. So that way, when I sit on the bike, I'm not like this. And so we got it up 2 inches, fully adjustable front rear suspension. And then our buddy Jake over at Barnstorm was like, hey, we have something going on now. You know, the Chiefs are picking up. We need to do some cool shit for them. And so he came out with a set of 4-inch risers for it. And I'm like, let's go, right? So I called him up, got those. And then, you know, without getting like just back and forth on all the parts, but I called Corey Ness and I'm like, hey, I saw you guys got some stainless steel handlebars. He's like, yeah, they're for a Road Glide. I'm like, cool, send them. You know, because the fly-by-wire or throttle-by-wire, or whatever everybody wants to call it, the notches are they're the same notches, but they're just kind of, they're clocked differently. Well, we don't care, right? I mean, it's the CHiEf, it's gonna work. We threw everything that we could possibly throw at it. Some bolt-on, some fab shit. There's a lot of crossover on the CHiEf, especially with the inverted front end to the Challenger. And you know, everybody asks like, what wheels are those, right? Well, they're Harley Davidson RC component wheels. And they just came up with a hub design that works for the Challenger. So this is actually a Challenger kit, not a CHiEf kit on a CHiEf model. That's how, you know, that's how we made that kind of setup work. Man, this bike handles so well. Obviously, everybody's seen all the videos and y'all know I love to do wheelies and burnouts on this motor. I think it's had 3 rear tires and it's only got 3,500 miles on it. You know, we go through tires pretty quickly around here, but I honestly, I think my favorite part about the bike is I can jump on it. I think last summer we ripped it up to Ohio. We did like a 2,200 mile trip. I know some of my hamster buddies up there and ripped all over the Ohio River. And it handled it just well. You know, we did the Bluegrass Highway on it, tarmac back roads. It's kind of a convertible or a chameleon. The bike does everything pretty well now. And, you know, I like the ability that it's still small and light and agile, but it's also still got the wind protection that I need if I want to go do some long hauls. You know, obviously we threw the kind of the hard case, you know, Speedwell bags on there. So it kind of gives it that industrial look a little bit, but you know, I can throw plenty of stuff in that and hit the tarmac and have some fun. I mean, the bike does 120 plus miles an hour all day long. And it also does the back roads extremely well because it's so light and nimble. So, you know, tunable suspension, lots of power, wind protection, and a little bit of storage. It doesn't get much better than that. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're Music City Indians, you know, we've been here 10 years and we built some pretty cool motorcycles. And, you know, as a dealer, we're not a manufacturer and we don't produce parts, but we have a lot of partners. We have a lot of great friends. We've given a lot of motorcycles to people to help R&D these parts. manufacture them. We obviously sell them, install them. We're definitely the shop if you want an OEM to work on your bike. That's what we do, but we're really focused on taking the stock motorcycle and making it something different. You go to a Sturgis, you go to Laconia, you go to Arizona Bike Week, and you walk out in the parking lot, a sea of Harleys and Indians, and they all look the same. We want the opposite of that. Whether we're producing the parts, or whether we're buying the parts, or whether we're manufacturing, or we're customizing the parts, whatever it is, we want our bikes to stand out from everybody else. And I think that's where my crew, mainly my crew, I get to take the credit for, but my guys really go above and beyond to specialize in Indian motorcycles, specialize in customization of these motorcycles, pushing the envelope, trying different things, not being afraid, admitting when they fuck up. That's the dealership we are. I mean, you can come in here at any time, look at any of our custom motorcycles, say, I kind of want that. Maybe I want it to look like this. And man, we're blessed to be able to do what we do every day. We're stoked to be able to do what we do every day. And we just hope more people want to come down and kind of participate in what we got going on.